Hi guys, welcome to Kengana. My name is Janita Maya. Now, if you are new here, please subscribe and like. Now, on today's episode, we are joined by the amazing.
I'm not amazing, but
What can you call yourself?
regular,
Well,
regular.
take the compliment. The amazing SPK in the building. Okay.
What's up?
Now, SPK, tell the people what you do and who you are.
What's going on? My name is Jay. SPK Lifestyle is my YouTube channel. I do YouTube content. Focusing now my content on the beautiful continent of Africa and the motherland, our ancestral home.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing now.
Well, SPK, welcome to the motherland. We'll give you an applause for that because you came in from Mexico.
See.
Giving you an applause for that. Thank you for coming in to our Kengada studios. Now, anyway, let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is racism. Okay? We're going to describe that. I'm getting this definition from Wikipedia on Google. Before you come for me in the comment section, listen to this. Racism is the belief that groups of humans possess different behavior traits corresponding to physical appearance and can be divided based on the superiority of one race over another. It may also mean prejudice, discrimination directed against other people because they are of a different ethnicity. Ethnicity. Thank you.
That's okay.
We learn.
That's okay.
Ethnicity. Now, you may ask yourself, why are we bringing this topic up? But right here, we have SPK, who has had the privilege of moving, among all these continents. He has been to America, South America, and now you're in Africa, yeah? Yes. And I think you're the best person to, tackle this topic with, because you've experienced a lot of people from different tribes, different races, different backgrounds. Definitely, you've interacted with so many different people. What's your say about racism?
Yes, so it's so interesting coming here, because I view Africans as my brothers and sisters. We're just separated. I just kind of say, you guys missed the boat. That's all that happened. Like that's really the only thing that separated us, right?
Wow.
So it's like now we're coming back, right? Coming back. And the thing is, in the United States, it's so different compared to here. Like when I was asking you about the transatlantic slave trade, and you're like, you never really heard much about it, but in school, and it's like that's all we know, because that's kind of where we come from, right? That's kind of us.
Yeah.
And the thing is, civil rights and the struggle for equality in the United States is at the forefront of pretty much an African American experience. Even though, it's not, I would say, the marching and the stuff that happened in the 60s of a lot of our leaders, and so many different groups forming, like Black Panthers and, Fred Hampton when he formed that group. And, even going back to Marcus Garvey and stuff like that, it has always been a fight before Marcus Garvey. I mean, how far you want to take it back? Like, there's always been a fight. Maybe after Reconstruction, I don't know. Like, there's always been a fight for equality in the United States. There's always been a fight for Black people to be treated as humans, because in our Constitution, we were counted as 3/5 of people. We weren't even counted as a whole person. And now, as someone that minored in political science in college, when you read some of these books that some of the founding fathers of the United States wrote, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, stuff like that, right? When you read some of their books, some of them say, well, the reason that Black people were counted as 3/5 was so that the South would not have more of a vote in matters dealing with, the federal elections and federal matters, right? Because they're like, oh, the South has all of these extra people who are slaves, but they don't really get a vote. So we can't count them as, well, they don't get the vote at all.
Yeah.
But we can't count them as full people, because then the South will just be able to have their will over the North, because it's like the South has more people, but those people are, slaves. They're not citizens, kind of technically, right? So even going all the way back to that, they've always made an excuse for why they treated Black Americans unfairly. They've always made an excuse, right? And, I think people thought stuff would change when President Barack Obama became president, but nothing really changed. And I don't believe, this is very pessimistic, I don't believe racial equality will ever exist in the United States just because of its foundation. It was not founded on equality. When you look at what was done to the Native Americans, how they were kicked out of their lands, like read about the Trail of Tears. When you look at how Black Americans were, you know, treated being brought over here, how can you then say all these many years later, you know, after the Mayflower Compact and all these years later that, oh, now we want equality, but it was never founded on equality. So how are we going to have equality now?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think racism is definitely, you know, it's a big deal in the United States for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that history lesson, because you dropped some things that I had no clue about.
Oh, yeah.
We hope you also learned something. Now, in this modern day era, have you faced racism in America?
Jay. So it's so funny.
As an individual.
It never until I left the US was I ever called the N-word.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'll get into that because I made a video about that, right?
Yeah, I saw that on YouTube.
And in the United States, all of my racism, because I grew up in a primarily Black community, not going to experience racism amongst my other Black people, right? And you know, you even have to define what is racism. You know, some people will say, well, it's not racism just if they call you, like, if somebody calls you a derogatory name based on your, you know, ethnicity or based on your race. They will say that racism is you actually have to be systematically oppressed. Yeah, no, they'll say Black people can't be racist because they can't systematically oppress white people, right? So that's some of the arguments that you will hear. But me personally, I grew up in the North, then I went to school in the South at Alabama A&M University. It is a historically Black college university, meaning that this university was founded pretty much for Black people when there was a time where Blacks could not even attend school. Wow. Yeah, there was, like, I'm telling you, it runs, and it's so funny, you know, when I speaking to Africans, when it's like they don't really have a concept of that, because colonialism happened here, but like, I guess the segregation and, you know, it happened in South Africa, but I guess it's just certain parts of Africa where it just wasn't as prevalent, whereas in the States, it was like darn near the entire United States in a sense. So for me, I have seen very racist things, but in the US personally, I can't recall a racist incident happening. Wow. Yeah, me personally. But I've had subtle racism, but you know, the thing with subtle racism is you think in the back of your mind that's racist, but you can't outright prove it. Okay. That's why it's subtle. Like you can think subtly somebody's being disrespectful to you, but you can't outright prove it. It's just what you think in your head. So I remember when I first went to Mississippi, because there was a school called Ole Miss, and sometimes I would go back, I would go there. And I remember when I going into Mississippi, I never forget, I saw this bumper sticker on this car, and it said, it's always gonna stick in my mind. It said, "Had I known it'd be this bad, I'd have picked my own cotton." Do you understand what that means?
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay. So for you guys who don't understand, maybe some of you Africans who don't understand, slaves in the United States had a lot of jobs, right? A lot of jobs that they did not get compensated for. One of those jobs, especially in places like South Carolina, but a lot of places, was to pick cotton. Yeah. Before the cotton gin and before people had like manufacturing techniques, they were to pick cotton. Now, if you know about picking cotton, it's not easy to pick cotton, and you got to deal with your hands getting like prickly and stuff like that, and it's not an easy job. But it was free labor. Yeah. And so for the guy to have on his back of his, I think it was a car. Yeah. I'd have picked my own cotton with the rebel flag. You see how disrespectful that is to Black people.
Very disrespectful.
Right.
Yeah.
But because I went to a HBCU, because I grew up in a Black city, I can't say I've dealt with much racism to where it has impacted my life to where I feel like I haven't had an opportunity. Now, I've worked at some jobs where, you know, they may have said boy, and, you know, in the US, when you say boy, it means a certain thing, but then they can say, oh, I didn't mean it like that, right? It's always stuff you can't outright point out, because most people in the United States, they know if they're racist, they're going to probably lose their job or something like that, unless they're in a good old boy system.
Yeah.
I worked at some jobs where it's the good old boys, and unless you outright call a black person the N-word, you can pretty much do anything else. And I've worked in some good old boy systems in the United States. It just is what it is when you have to work with those people. I'm not going to say stuff, right? You guys can read between the lines.
Yeah.
That's just what you're going to deal with, right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, thank you for that. What about racism in Mexico? Do you think you got to experience more racism in Mexico?
Well, they said that before I came, because I've been doing YouTube since 2018, so I will always say, hey, I'm moving here, I'm going there. Everybody swore Mexicans were so racist and it would be so bad, and the gangs. And when I got to Mexico, they were some of the nicest people that I met. Mexicans are cool. You will not hear me have anything bad to say about Mexicans because they treated me very well.
Yeah.
I never had a problem. Where people get Mexicans confused is Mexican Americans who've never even been. So there's Mexican people who are of Mexican descent. Their parents are Mexicans, and maybe they're first generation Americans. Okay. Black people do have a lot of problems with Mexican Americans. Have had a lot of black people tell me that they've experienced some racism from Mexican Americans, which to me is just like, I don't understand. You're a minority too. How are you going to be racist to another minority? It just doesn't make sense. Right? You're both minorities in an oppressive country, but it is what it is. But going to Mexico, I didn't know what to expect. But that's what I said in one of my videos. I've never had a racist experience in Mexico. Yeah. Not once. It wasn't until I went to Colombia where I had a racist experience.
Oh, okay. Now, can you tell us about your experience in Colombia?
Yeah. So in Colombia, my time in Mexico was coming to an end, so I had to go to Colombia. And everybody's in Medellin, and everybody just swears Medellin is just the best place on earth. And I'm just like, before I got there, I would have thought it was heaven, because all these YouTubers were just like, oh, Medellin, blah, 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 Colombia, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And now I realize, it was 95% of it was because the women are hot. Because literally everything else you can get in Medellin, you can get anywhere else. So I'm just like, it doesn't have any beaches. It's very congested. Like, what is the hype about? But I'm like, it's the women. Okay, got it. Cool. That's fine. So getting there, seeing for myself, I was like, I'm getting ready to go, because I didn't like it here, right? I didn't like it at all, but it was locked down. It was tough to move around and stuff like that. So I went out one day to just go make a video about safety and cost of living, because safety is a big deal in Colombia. A lot of guys get robbed all the time. And recently a Black American guy got killed. He purchased an apartment, I think worth $750,000. And a few days later, he was killed, shot in the head, twice in the head. And they said it was a robbery gone wrong, but I personally don't believe that, but that's what they say, right? But Black American guy shot and killed. So it wasn't until now that I start to see all the issues that country has for black people. Not saying black people can't have a good time there. A lot of black guys, black women have been to Colombia and have had a really good time there. But to me, like I said, I think it's overhyped personally in Medellin and Colombia. But the experience I had there, I was just making a video, and then the guy just walks behind me and just says, N-word, right? Yeah. And at first, like I said, I didn't understand it. At first, I didn't understand what he was. Didn't think I grasped it right. I was like, "Wait, really? What?" And then he just kept walking, because I'm just like, "That's so weird. Why would someone just see me recording?" I've had people what's it called? Photo bombing. Yeah. Where you'll take a photo and then someone walks behind you and put I like photo bombing. I've never heard N-word bombing. Yeah. Before, right? Well, so the guy's just walking off, and when something happens fast in your mind, you're trying to process it. Yeah. But then I finally process. I'm like, oh wow, okay, bet I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna get paid off of your ignorance, right? Yeah. So I made a video just talking about my experience. And then all these people like, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have done this, you should have did this. What people don't understand is that when you're in a foreign country, the last thing you want to do is get in trouble. Yeah. I could easily end up in jail. Beat that guy. Easily. Most people don't exercise. Most people have no skills. Most people are out of breath in 15 seconds. Yeah. I train. So I could easily, it wasn't an intimidation thing. Yeah. it was just one more of a disappointing thing, and it just let me know that made me go to Africa faster. Cause I'm like, that's a big lesson. I don't need to be in a place where I'm not with my people. Even if other people are nice, just the fact that colonizers or people who think they're better than people are there, it just lets me know that I don't need to be there. I need to be with my people. That's why Africa was ultimately the goal. But the last thing you want to do is get in trouble in a foreign country.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like in Uganda, it's no way I'm getting in trouble here because you don't have the same rights. So this is shows called Locked Up and Abroad. Look at that show. Look at what happened. So if I wasn't under threat physically, it's no reason for me to do anything to the person other than make the video, do what I did. And if he had touched me or threatened me, then I would have a right to defend myself. But anybody can look and be like, oh, well, you didn't have. I'll give you a prime example. There was a guy in the United States, and he was this was recently. He was a cashier, like at a window, a drive-through restaurant. Yeah. And some old racist white man, I think, either said some type of racial slur or called him the N-word. He ended up punching the guy, killing him, and went to jail. Because again, he did not technically have a right to. His life wasn't in danger. So if you go to America and if you go to United States and some racist Karen calls you the N-word, like Jonita, you such and such, and you punch her in the face, I don't know, say she falls and hits her head, or you're going to jail. Yeah. That's how the law is going to view it. So you got to outthink them. This is why it just makes no sense for me to be anywhere but Africa. That's just me.
That's perfect.
That's just me.
Now, with everything you've said, you're making it seem like Africa is a safe space for you.
Racially.
To be yourself.
Racially.
Do you think you've experienced some form of racism for the few days you've been here?
No.
Because there's some people who come from abroad and say, yes, you're coming to Africa, but there's some people also discriminate against them. Because looking
discrimination at that's different than racism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Educate me, please.
No. So I can discriminate against you. For example, in dating, in our dating preferences, we have discrimination. Women will discriminate. A lot of women will be like, well, I don't want to date black guys. And these will be black women. There's a whole divestment community on YouTube. These will be black women. Oh, I don't want to date black men. I'm done with black men. Blah, 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 blah. Black men, black men. I want white Zaddy. I want Zaddy. Or I want such and such. I want Romeo. I want Hector. I want Felix, right? They are discriminating against the black men, but that's not racism. There's a difference. They can't systematically oppress black men.
Oh, okay.
Or they can just say, I don't want to date them. Like I could be like, I don't like African women. That would be me discriminating against African women to date me, but I can't be racist against them person. That's the difference. Like discrimination is just your preference and choice. Racism is more so like kind of how the definition you read earlier. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll just say it's a safe space, okay? You're more accepted here.
Yeah, that's my mindset going in. Even if some Africans are like, who is this man? I don't want this man. Who is this man?
No, they're just curious.
Right. Because I do get a lot of looks. Like that's one thing. Like my hair, the way I dress, I'm way bigger than them. I need to lose some weight anyway. I gotta lose this pandemic weight. You're but like I'm way wider than them. Yeah. And it's just like I do get looks like a lot of the guys here. Their hair is low cut. So yeah. Me having, but I'm not cutting my hair. But again, like I know it's gonna be different. So when I go like the Bukoto, Kisasi Road, and I walk and stuff, like I know they're gonna be looking. Yeah. But it's like looks of curiosity.
Yeah, they're just curious.
It's not like if you go in the South and it's looking like
disgust or something.
Why are you here, boy? Why you walking around these parts of town, boy? What? It's not like that. Yeah. So there's a difference.
Okay. All right. Now, Jay, I've tackled everything. I've asked all I need. I've asked everything that I wanted to ask. Unless you have something else you'd like to add.
No, I love it. I love these conversations. I could just go talk and talk and talk.
Okay, anyway, I do hope that you get to enjoy Uganda. Uganda is beautiful. You know, this is just a beautiful place. I don't know. I wouldn't be anywhere else in the world but my dear country.
I'm glad I came here first because my image of Uganda, this is what I told us, you know King Obatunda.
Yeah.
So I was talking to him before I got here and I was like, you know, the only images that we really know of Uganda is one, Idi Amin, which a lot of people consider a brutal dictator.
Yeah.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
And why are you gay? You are gay. That's all we know. So come in here and like, it's not like that. These are regular people who work hard. They live great lives. There's businesses here. There's community here. It's not like that. So that's why my videos are going to be able to break down those stereotypes.
Yeah, and that's why people need to go and subscribe to your YouTube channel. That's SPK Lifestyle. So
come through. Do
subscribe. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It has come to an end. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and also subscribe to SPK's YouTube channel. Just scroll down, the first comment pinned, you will find him there. Now do follow us on our social media pages, Kengana Nation Instagram, Kengana Nation Facebook, Kengana Nation on Twitter. I'm your host, Janita. I'll see you next time.